So Dr. Kim and I are just going to give a brief recap from yesterday and get started with our presenters for today. So Dr. Kim?
All right, greetings to all of you. Welcome to day 2 of our international conference on agape love and forgiveness. I would like to share some of my reflections with you this morning. This is what I was thinking a lot about yesterday. Maybe some of you too, I'm not sure. But as a self-conscious person, I was thinking a lot about whether or not I was correctly pronouncing or mispronouncing some of the presenters' names. Given the theme of this conference and the purpose of our talk right now is to kind of share our reflections and highlights from yesterday. Somehow I had to make a connection between me mispronouncing and the theme of this conference, which is agape love and forgiveness, right? I came to this conclusion. Maybe by mispronouncing some of your names and offending you, I was giving you a concrete opportunity to apply what you have learned yesterday. I was giving you opportunities so that you could grow in the virtue of forgiveness and love toward me by developing understanding, empathy, kindness, compassion, and even love.
I'm going to go with that too. Oh, thank you. Thank you. We tried.
Yep. And I was thinking, as your MC today, I'll be happy to continue to give you that opportunity. I might continue to mispronounce your name so that you can more concretely apply what you have learned yesterday. On a more serious note, I was actually reflecting on what it means that at the highest level, forgiveness is an expression of agape love. Let's think about that for a moment. At the highest level, forgiveness is an expression of agape love. Agape love is the highest form of forgiveness, and forgiveness flows from that agape love. What does that mean? That's something that I was thinking about.
It's very profound. I feel like we could have a philosophy class on that question alone.
Exactly. So recently, I was reading a book on happiness, how to be happy, how not to be happy, by a philosopher, as you predicted, by a philosopher who knows something about Dr. Enright's buddy, the old buddy, 500-year-old buddy, Aristotle, and also someone who's slightly younger by maybe 1,500 years, Thomas Aquinas, Saint Thomas. And the philosopher's name is Dr. I might have to seek forgiveness from him, but Dr. I'll try again. Budziszewski. I might be wrong, but I often mispronounce names. So his name is Dr. Budziszewski. All right. Yeah.
Dr. B.
Yeah, Dr.
Let's go
B.
with Dr. B.
He's a professor of philosophy at the University of Texas, Austin, and he wrote a book on happiness. And he wrote in his book that to be happy in the unqualified sense is the same as to be fulfilled, to flourish, or to thrive, to enjoy complete well-being, to have our complete and final good. I'm gonna repeat, okay? To be happy in the unqualified sense is the same as to be fulfilled, to flourish, or to thrive, to enjoy complete well-being. Think about complete well-being. What is complete happiness? What is supreme happiness? And he made it very clear that happiness, the supreme kind of happiness that is not fleeting. He mentioned that it's not pursuing momentary satisfaction. It's not really seeking pleasure for the moment. According to him, when you pursue happiness, you're seeking something good for its own sake, not as a means to something else. So it essentially is the concept of, well, I don't really know Latin, but summum bonum, which means greatest good. The kind of good that you pursue for its own sake, because it is good in and of itself. He also mentioned that happiness is like the fulfillment of the ultimate desire. Fulfillment of the ultimate desire. He explained that it is not about having a good moment. It's not about having a good time, but having a good life. I know many of you are having a good time. I'm having a good time too. This is actually my first time visiting Madison, Wisconsin in 6 years. First time visiting after I graduated. And I'm having a pretty good time. I met some of my old friends. But, I want you to have a good time here, okay? Don't get me wrong. But I guess that might not be the ultimate goal of being here. As a result of this conference, I think, in my opinion, if you're determined to have a good life, not just good moment, if you're determined to have a good life, not just good moment, I think we are moving toward the ultimate good, summum bonum, the greatest good. And as you strive to lead a truly and lastingly flourishing life by pursuing summum bonum, I think you'll enjoy complete well-being. That's something that I was thinking about. As I was thinking about forgiveness is the expression of agape love. So think about this. How good it is to practice the virtue of forgiveness for its own sake. How good it is to practice it for its own sake. And how good it is to enjoy a fulfilling and flourishing life by changing your life story as a story of love and a story of forgiveness. I hope that through our day 2, all of us are further challenged, maybe sometimes by me mispronouncing your name, but all of us are further challenged to grow in the virtue of forgiveness and further motivated to strive toward its highest form, which is agape love. That's what I wanted to share with you. Is there something?
Yeah, so yesterday, kind of the structure of the day, we started with just an overview from Dr. Enright, and then got into the research from the 3 countries that are here visiting from across the world. And I just took away from that the hope that creates, that so many of you in so many different places, different cultures, different religions are engaging in this practice. And I heard the word hope shared a lot yesterday. The other thing that really stood out to me was the breakout sessions and hearing everybody fervently talking about how to integrate this, what the day has meant for them, and hearing the joy being shared really spoke to me yesterday as well. And I think I also heard Mr. Little's talk, his story about his grandfather. I heard a lot of people referring to that yesterday, and I'm sure you've received numerous comments about how touched everybody was by that. And I have been reflecting on the forgiveness in my own life, or the people in my life that are holding on to resentment. And I really appreciated Dr. Enright's walkthrough of thinking about somebody in our lives that we need to forgive, or thinking about somebody in our lives that we know is holding on to resentment. And my grandmother is holding on to a lot of resentment. And she's so depressed, she's sad. And so I can see what that does to her, and my siblings can see what that does to her. And we are choosing not to hold on to those resentments in the same way that she did. So hopefully breaking that cycle that gets passed on from generation to generation of hatred and not forgiving and not loving. The other thing that really stood out to me yesterday, and I discussed this with a few people, a friend of mine was able to come yesterday for the conference. He's unable to come today. But he sent me, he didn't really know what he was getting into. He mostly was coming because I invited him. He didn't really understand the topic or anything. I said, it's on love and forgiveness. Just come, it's gonna be great. And so he's here, listening to the first few talks, and he texted me while I was back there, and he said, does this have to do with the Bible or God or anything? And I said, no, actually, it doesn't matter if you practice a religion or not. Love and forgiveness are moral virtues, whether or not you practice any type of faith. And he really thought that was interesting. And it made me think about how many times I hear people say they can't engage in forgiveness because that's a religious thing. Or I don't really believe in God, so forgiveness is like a taboo word. And I want to make that more accessible to people who don't practice any faith, to make them feel like I can still engage in this practice. So his question just really made me think about how people who don't practice any religion perceive people who do practice religion, or perceive the terms agape love and forgiveness. So it's something I'm holding on to and reflecting. I also had an opportunity to practice forgiveness in the last 24 hours. So Dr. Kim and I, last night, agreed that we weren't going to write anything to say this morning. We weren't given a script this morning. So we parted ways saying yeah, we'll just chit-chat and talk and not write anything out. And then I get here this morning and he's like, oh, I wrote something out. And I said, what? I didn't write anything out. You said you weren't going to. And he said, well, it's an opportunity for forgiveness.
Am I forgiven?
You are forgiven.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.